was not expecting this many people, to be honest. I thought it was gonna be me and like maybe one other person. So yeah, there's probably gonna be some technical issues because this is our first attempt. There's already been like 4 issues before we even started. But yeah, hopefully it'll be chill from here on out. So currently I'm working on page 8 of Tales from Graycove. I think I'm only up to page 6 on Webtoon at the moment, so this is a little far ahead, which is why I took out any of the dialogue. You guys don't get any spoilers, unfortunately. Yeah, if the audio is a little funky or if like the music in the background is too loud, just let me know and I will fix it. Oh good, you can't hear me. That's nice. I wasn't sure. It's a little awkward to just be talking by myself in a room, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. So yeah, right now I'm just kind of doing the cleanup sketches from all of the rough stuff, so I'm going to be adding in the little details, like turning this vague circle in 3 different spots into a gear. And it should be grand. Some of these settings from when I was on here last. Hello! Lots of people are saying hi. Hi. Audio seems good. Nice to hear. Hello in Swahili. That's very funny. Yeah, sorry, no spoilers beyond what you can interpret from their expressions, I guess, but 90% of them are going to be angry. And if you know the scene, then you know why. It's one of the more stressful situations. Okay, so she has 3 piercings on this side. Oh, let me fix that up a bit. That's a little too much. Audio's great. What's your mic? No idea. Martin would know. And my day has been good. I've been stressing about doing this stream for the last multiple days. Okay. He's got a couple little tears in this ear. Great music choices, thank you. I just went onto the Chill Hop website and picked out a bunch of random stuff. Glad you like it. Okay, she's got her necklace. She starts with a claw, and has a bullet. Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Yeah, it feels like a lecture hall of people are watching me right now. It's really stressing me out, to be honest, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. It helps I can't physically see anyone. We're not quite at the line art stage yet. We're just doing some like rough sketching. Well, cleanup sketching over top of the rough sketching. I just do this in layers and layers until I finally feel ready to do the line art. And then kind of go from there. Do I post my story anywhere else other than YouTube or Webtoon? Yeah, I post it on my own website. It's just like mamarshall.com. Yeah, there's a lot more people here than I was expecting, to be honest. I thought I was going to be by myself for the first few streams, and then the numbers started getting higher and I started really sweating. Let me see if I can remember what a lion jaw looks like off the top of my head. Which, not easy to find reference pictures for when you need really specific angles. A little too high, actually. Let's bump this down a little. Question about the website. The words are different. It's probably... That's a good question. Usually I post the entire pages on my website after the fact, so if I had to make any editing while it was being posted on Webtoon, usually I'll go back and fix on Webtoon. I may have forgotten and then posted the edited version or maybe the non-edited version on my website. It can get a little hard to keep track of, to be honest. Like, in the last few pages I had a couple of little mistakes, so the second the ads are off I go in and I fix them, and most of the time no one really notices. It's just little nitpicky things that I don't really like on the matriarch's cloak, there's supposed to be highlights in this upper area, and I completely forgot about them for one of the pages, but nobody commented, so I don't think anyone noticed. So it's just little things that kind of bother me. And I think the most recent thing I saw was Foster's nose ring was missing in one of the pages. So yeah, if there are differences, it's not on purpose. It's probably I just updated something and then I completely forgot about it. Or forgot to update it on the website, or, you know, any other number of things. I do need to check out my website one of these days and fix it. Well, thank you for joining us. Oh, thank you, Lando. Much appreciated. That's very kind of you. This is a sick-ass stream. Thank God. I was not sure. And I'm still not sure. I'm sure I'll embarrass myself at some point. That's fine. Let's round this out a little bit more. Okay. Matrix probably good on this one. Just erase this. bit of a scar coming up on her nose and her whiskers. There we go. That's a little better. I'll start putting in Foster. Yeah, it's very complicated, so I'm glad Martin did all of it for me. Should be like this shape, yeah. So this is gonna be page 8. Coming up. I think page 7 is supposed to go up tomorrow, or maybe page 6. I honestly get very lost. Page 6, yeah, page 6, sorry, goes up tomorrow on Webtoon. Page 7 is already up on Coffee, or it should be going up on Coffee tomorrow. Yeah, you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek. But like I said, there's no actual dialogue in this one. I took it out just for this. Well, not just for this. I usually end up taking it out while I'm working on the page, so it's not visually getting in my way. Just said I forgot it the other day. Wait, no, that's not right. Yeah, that's better. She's got this kind of puffy vest. Who actually is your favorite character that you have created besides the mammoth? For Graycove specifically? Oh, bye Luke. We will be back on Thursday. Do I have any other OCs I would like to make a story about? So many. I have so many stories that I started working on, started sketching for, and then kind of went off to the side. So like that one post I did the human character art for Hazelin, I said I worked on another story, and unfortunately I haven't had enough time to really work on it. But that one is a lot more complicated because it was kind of like a more serious adult graphic novel vibe than this one, where it's more of like a Gravity Falls kind of feel and like a small town, lots of like cryptid monsters, stuff like that. So I would love to keep working on that at some point. I just really don't have enough time. And favorite character? Probably the matriarch right now, to be honest, but that's probably just because I've been drawing her every single day. Be sure not to strain yourself. I'm doing my best. This doesn't feel like the right expression. It'd be fun if Graycove and Gravity Falls took place in the same universe. That would be fun, but unfortunately those kids would be very, very dead. Hazel looks like she wants to go home. I think they all want to. I think both of them want to leave. I don't think the hyenas want them here. Everyone in this situation is vaguely upset. Graycove finale should be Russell and Griff running off, marrying and running an Airbnb in New England. That's funny. It's probably not gonna be that. I already have some ending ideas in mind. None of them involve them running away together, unfortunately. Do I draw every angle from scratch? Yes. Yeah, every one is a fresh one. So if you're like, hey, Hazel looks a little too tall in this one, or a little too short, or like her neck looks a little too long, like it does right now, let me fix that. It's because I draw them from scratch every single time. And if it's a character I don't draw often, like the matriarch, I usually have a reference open, like I do currently, because I'll forget little things like how many piercings she has on one side, or like which teeth are the gold ones and which ones aren't. So reference images are your friend, always. But with Hazel and Griff at this point, I've drawn them so many times, I could do it in my sleep. Although sometimes I forget her necklace, if I'm drawing her from like a back angle and I'm just doing the necklace straps, and even then she looks naked without them. It's very strange. Is the height difference between Hazel and Griff intentional? Kind of. Hazel's very vaguely based off of the main character of an older webcomic I started when I was like 17. That's still up on Webtoon. Misadventures of Fia. And Fia in that universe was gonna be like 7 feet tall. Oh yeah, I saw you guys commenting about the tree and Bill Cipher and pepper spray. Very funny. Yeah, the Fia comic, because Fia is an Irish name that I think when I translate it, if it's spelt Fia without the DH, in Irish that means deer, and with the DH I think the name itself meant like wild or untamed, whatever you want to call it, and that was kind of just her personality in general. And I quite like that character, so I would like to eventually go back to that one and update the art style because it looks really terrible in retrospect. But, you know, it's similar as like the first few pages of Graycove where I was kind of just testing it out and I didn't think it would get as popular as it did. So I was maybe a little lazy on those pages, so like there isn't any proper backgrounds, they're just kind of blank colors and stuff like that. Everything's a little rough. Add guns to Graycove. Yeah, that would be a bad idea. I feel like Russell should not be anywhere near guns. Actually, I feel like most of the characters you can't trust them. Except maybe Griff. Trust would get knocked over by the recoil. Yeah, that's true. I feel like Hazel would be too. She's not the, you know, thickest gal in the world. I feel like all the force on the top half would just send her knocked over, you know? Actually, yeah, you're right. Griff can't be trusted. He would shoot someone for food. Can I not specify did they exist? They existed. I'll say that. That'll be explored more later on. I don't want to give too much away. It's them going into like a human town is going to be heavily explored later on. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on all these comments you guys are going off. Hazel's low-key thinner than Beldam from Coraline. Yeah. I like that character a lot though, so that's pretty sick. Is Graycove inspired by Inherit the Earth quest? I don't know what that is. Ex-theater kid turned grump. No. I don't think you'd make a good theater kid. I like this pose. Also, I'm trying to remember what gave me the inspiration for Graycove, and I'm coming up at a little bit of a blank. I remember I was trying to come up with a short story for college. We had to make it between 1 to 2 minutes. Even doing that short of a time, it takes like 6 months to do a full film from beginning to end when you're doing every single stage by yourself. It's pretty hard. It was very time consuming. It was a very stressful 6 months while I was working on it. And I remember reading something where someone said when you're writing a story or coming up with a short story, to picture a world that you would want to live in. And at the time, there were like forest fires, there were environmental stuff happening, and I was like, you know what'd be best? No people. And then they went from there. I'm like, let's take them out of the equation first. Your art style is semi-nostalgic for a reason I can't figure out. Well, let me know when you figure it out, 'cause I have no idea. Bullets are a very simple shape. They're basically just a cylinder, but for some reason, I struggle with every single bullet on her necklace, unless it's hidden away by the cloak. is Russell or Hazel the older sibling? Russell is the oldest, but Hazel is the larger of the two, so she has much more of an energy of the older sibling. And she's very much the kind of caregiver in their house, you know? Like, obviously their dad is their main parent, but Hazel had to do a lot of taking care of them after their mom passed. So she has the motherly personality down. Not completely, but a little bit. Isn't Russell an adult? Yes, he is. They are both adults now. But their mom passed when they were very, very young. The next chapter of the comic will get a little more into Russell's background. Let's get this. Rest in peace, Daisy. Yeah. It's been a while. They're good. Girls tend to mature faster than boys in development too. Yeah, exactly. And like they don't have a huge age gap. But Russell is older than both Hazel and Griff. Not by a ton, but he is older. Cool. Thank you for joining us, Defender. You should do an old family photo of Daisy as a break panel next break. Well, that's not a bad idea. Yes, she has definitely just heard something that is shocking even to her, which I think would be a difficult feat. Griff is older than Hazel by a little bit. They're all pretty close to the same age. But it goes Russell, Griff, and then Hazel. Hazel's the youngest out of the three of them. But they are all adults. Okay, where would the jaws be, I suppose? This is the one part about the lion jaws that I don't care for. Thankfully her hand covers a big majority of that, which might have been on purpose at the time. I was like, you know, solve me some problems later. Putting this hand right here. Is Hazel going to be getting taller, or is she is at her full height? All of them are fully grown adults. And none will be growing anymore. Unfortunately, Griff is stuck at that height. I don't really like how this hand is looking, but I'll fix it later. Griff is a little on the short side. He's not unnaturally short, but I think it's just because his brother is very tall that makes him feel shorter than he really is. It doesn't help that Hazel's now his partner and she's very tall as well, but, you know, a normal height for a deer. Because their species makes a difference. Like, all of these hyenas are larger than them, if not in height, then in, you know, bulk. Hi, Cosmic Pause. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's see. Cloak will kind of dip down a little bit and then go up over this arm. Elbow there. I need help. I'm trying to work additional art. Tips help me with my cartoon I created. I guess just keep practicing. I don't really know where you are in your art journey, but the main piece of advice I give anyone trying to learn how to do comics is to learn how to draw realistically first, because once you can do that, you can really turn anything into a cartoon, you know? And it can really help when learning anatomy, proportions, like, you know, just doing like a basic sitting pose. It's so much faster if you understand basic anatomy first. You know, I could sketch in a sitting pose in like 2 minutes. It's just good in general. If you're drawing lots of people, it's wonderful to do life drawing classes, even if the first couple can be really awkward. How much time have you been developing the Graycove characters, even if just in your head? I started doodling Hazel in the margins of my homework in college. And that's one reason why I chose to do her for my short film. Because, you know, I already had all those doodles hanging around, and originally, you know, she didn't look anything like she does now. Because it was homework doodles, you know. Obviously I refined it a little bit more, like she had little horns, I would dress her up like a little adventurer and stuff like that, just for fun, because I was bored. Griff was pretty easy. I think I did like 3 sketches of him and I was like, done, he's perfect. No more. The matriarch, I think I filled probably like 10 pages worth of drawings just trying to figure out what I wanted her to look at like, because I was so particular at the time, and, you know, still am. Yep, you are correct, Grapes. Art takes a lot of time. I started taking art lessons in middle school, outside of like the school mandated art classes. And then I kept up with it for years and years and years. I was in the same art class with the same very wonderful teacher for most of my high school experience, I'd say. She was wonderful. I worked with her outside of the art classes as well. She got me a few jobs. She was great. Show matriarch concept art. You got it. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm just catching up on all the chat messages right now. Canine species are sorted out of drugs of how subtle some of the differences are. Yeah, that's true. There are some really good resources if you're wanting, you know, to learn how to draw but you don't have a lot of money. All you really need is a sketchbook, pencil, pen, and access to some kind of phone. This isn't the right thing. Crap, sorry, opened up the wrong one. Where's my girl at? So sorry, one of my favorite free resources is Line of Action, especially if you're getting into figure drawing and stuff like that, because completely free. I'm sorry, here are some of the Matrix sketches that Martin really wanted me to show. Originally, I played around with making her face even more messed up, as you can see, but that felt like way too much. So, you know, I looked for that solid middle ground that she ended up in. Let's see, Oh yeah, I played around with a lot of different costumes. The one she has right now is going to be more complicated with like beads and stuff like that hanging down. She was going to have like a huge necklace made out of individual finger bones connected with different beads. That would have taken forever. I found a picture of I think it was a walrus skull. I thought that would be hilarious as a piece of armor, but honestly that doesn't really work. You can't really, you know, bend your arm or do anything like that. And yeah, these ones just didn't really hit. I might use them for like background hyenas later. And then I was gonna do some headpieces, didn't. And eventually I kind of just put a bunch of different things together and came up with this. Matrix gives same vibe that one Shuri posted. There'd been Mana Andrews. Yeah, they'd be friends, probably. Or maybe not friends, but... you know, she probably wouldn't kill him. Okay, skull's got some straps. She's got some straps holding down the skull on her knee. I imagine for this one she kind of just found it, picked it up, stuck it on some armor and was like, that's cool, and then kept it. Maybe not my best skull, but it'll work for now. Exactly, Norse horse. She saw it and she's like, you know what? That's armor right there. It's just flat enough that if I knee someone in the face, it's still gonna hurt a lot. Her leg before I try and figure out this one specific piece of armor that I regret designing now. Honestly, her whole design is very complicated, and I'm sure my old character design teacher would get mad at me for it, but honestly, if she's only gonna be really in the story for a short amount of time, I don't really care if I have to spend the extra time making her look a little fancier. I don't know if you guys could tell from how small all of these drawings are, but these are also supposed to be bones running along her shin here. That's not quite right. Yeah, I just gotta do some adjustments. Sorry, I'm trying to draw and read the chat at the same time, which is a lot more difficult than I was anticipating. So if I miss something directed at me, I apologize. Aesthetic reminds me of Fury Road. Nice. Definitely the vibe I was going for, so that's excellent. Okay, and she's got these weird claw things that kind of come off like this. Mythology x Graycove crossover. Gods favor different factions in the Guards vs. Hyena conflict. Interesting. Well, the war gods would definitely like the hyenas, I can tell you that much. Probably starts about here. She's got a little knife tucked away. Always handy to have a boot knife. Did you get hit by a train? No. But I will tell you that the person who did that to her face is currently being worn as a cloak. So probably not the best decision on their part. Okay, how would the cloak would come down fold like this. Along the ground here, I'll put the little tail sticking out. Matriarch looks like if Conquest was a woman hyena. Nice. Kind of fold like that. I have a very bad habit of jumping between parts of a drawing, which you'll probably pick up on. Which I'm trying to get better at, but sometimes I'm just too excited to move ahead. I think Matriarch's good for now. Oop, nope, figure out the side of her cloak. Let's see. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, it needs a couple of little touch-ups, but I have to do the liner next anyway, so I'll deal with them then. And then we got this one scary little fella that people really liked in the previous page. Yeah, you love the scared little fella? Me too. Okay. Can't really see too much of him in this shot, but I believe he is on the page after this one. So you'll get to see more of him yet. Matriarch again. Definitely didn't make her nose big enough in that first rough sketch, so let's make that a little bit bigger here. Aw, he's adorable. You should make stickers or little emojis of him in chat. That would be fun. Maybe if I get the time. I've been meaning to print stickers or something for a while. Does the matriarch have a glass eye? Or is it her real eye but just glazed over? That is her real eye. She is completely blind out of it. Because of the injury, obviously, but it is real. What do you think? Does she look angry enough in this one? It's like her default expression. Just barely see the eye. I have to be really careful when I'm drawing the eye, because if it's even a little bit off, it kind of just looks like I threw a googly on top of her face. What kind of voice do you imagine the matriarch would have? Oh, that's interesting. That's a good question. Yeah, she does have a very gritty backstory. For some reason, off of the top of my head, I'm picturing the voice actress who does Beatrice Horseman from BoJack, and that is entirely because I was watching it earlier today. So I don't actually know. But that is something to think about. Every time I draw her teeth, I forget how I drew her teeth the previous time, so I'm going off of reference images. So it takes me a minute longer than usual. Is the stream as scary as you imagined? Yes. Absolutely. No, it's not too bad. It's kind of like doing a life drawing class where you know there's gonna be a stranger naked in the room. The first 10 minutes you're like, ugh. But after that, it kind of just wears off. Bye, Cosmic Pause. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you can make it next week, and hopefully I'll be a little less anxious for that one. I'm doing fine. Well, that's good. Happy to hear it. Oof, that is way too wide. What am I thinking? Fix that. This make it easier? Yes, thank you. It is much appreciated. What program is this? I'm using Adobe Photoshop, because that's what I was trained on, but it's probably not what I would recommend to anyone unless they're doing work professionally, I guess. Because it's like $36 a month or something like that, which is ridiculously stupid. There are plenty of free programs that work very similar. The only reason I'm still using Photoshop is because all of my settings are saved. And I know how to use it and I'm comfortable with the program. And I don't want to have to go through, you know, a relearning period if I switch to something else. And I use this every single day, so for me it's worth the investment. But if you're like just getting into doing digital art, stuff like that, if you have like an iPad or something, like depending on what gear you're working with, Procreate is wonderful because it's a one-time payment, works very similarly. It's not quite as beefy as Photoshop, but it's still very good. And I use that one for all of my shorts. Just see a little peek of the gear. Krita is kind of hard to use. Yeah, I think I tried that once. I think I tried it for their animation feature as well, but it's kind of the same thing where the program I was trained on is Toon Boom Harmony, and that's a very, very expensive program, unfortunately. But it's the one I was trained on. I know how to make rigs in it. I know how to use all the animation features and stuff like that. So the process of having to relearn an entire program makes it really hard for me to, you know, want to put the time in to do that, just because learning it the first time was hard enough. I'm not the best person with computers, you know? Okay, our scar should be coming up a little bit right there. Here. This one would cut up towards our hairline, and a peak of that third stripe along the side. Would some human tech work or still exist in the post-apocalyptic world? Things like nuclear reactors or other such power stations? I don't know enough about nuclear reactors to be writing about them. I do have plans for them to have some level of human technology. Some of it's just for flavor, like having them have like little music players, stuff like that. You know, fun things like that. I do have a lot of plans to expand on that more later on in the series. But not quite yet. Yeah, exactly. I'm so bad with computers. Martin had to do all of the stream setup for me, and then had to deal with it when things started going wrong 10 minutes before it started, and I was freaking out. Oh yeah, you even tried Illustrator. It makes me want to lobotomize myself. I had the same experience with Illustrator. I do not care for it. I don't like working in vectors. I'm not good at it. I very rarely will take on a commission that involves having to work in vectors. I've done it. I don't like it. Like this angle of her face. It feels very off. Maybe if I move this over a bit. Yeah, that might be good. this one cuts forward a little bit and then goes up like this. That's why reference images are always nice. Even though I made her, don't always remember what she looks like. I'm just got one scar on her nose, it kind of cuts up right here. The stream gives off Bob Ross if he is a streamer. I don't think I'm as skilled as Bob Ross was. But thank you, that is a very big compliment. What you working on tonight? I'm working on page 8 of Tales from Graycove. So it's a bit ahead of what's being posted on Webtoon right now. I think 6 is going up tomorrow. I'm very excited for everyone to see it. It was a lot of work. Thankfully there's a lot more dialogue and things happening in it than in the previous page. But the previous page was all about introducing the matriarch, so she needed a, you know, front and center, big picture. Oof, I do not like this hair. I'm gonna try that again. Yeah, I'm trying to get ahead with the pages. Posting on Coffee makes it a little bit harder because I have to be a week ahead all the time. Thankfully I only post the line art, not the actual full colors, or else I'd be drowning right now. But I've been trying to catch up, you know, and kind of get ahead. Take some of the stress off. This angle is always a tricky one. That's too big. There are no mistakes, just happy wrestles. You got it. Does that imply that wrestle is a mistake? Depends who you ask. If you asked Herb and Daisy, absolutely not. Or Hazel, obviously. Hey Luke, welcome back. Question, can I give you a short idea for siblings barging into your room? Yeah, go for it. I will always take suggestions, I just might not use them. Either because it doesn't work, or I don't have the time. But always welcome to suggest things. Okay, bottom pass guard. Like this. Turn down this a little bit more. Oh, that's way easier to see. Why didn't I do that earlier? Okay. Not looking too shabby. Hello, Allison. This really reminded me of a sibling barging into your room. I'm not sure if you mean this by the stream or if you're trying to send a link or something, I don't know. I do have an idea for one of the short comics in between chapters that I drew forever ago and like really terribly and I need to redo of Russell and Hazel when they were really young and still sharing a bedroom, and Russell finally getting fed up and moving bedrooms because Hazel keeps cracking her back in the middle of the night and, you know, glowing up like a nightlight, waking him up. I just thought that'd be pretty funny, but... Wait, you should do like a day in the life of Griff's family. I'll probably do that at some point. Not next chapter, but the one after that is going to be more Griff focused. It's not going to be super long. And I can't really talk about it because I don't want to give anything away. But there'll be more Griff in it. Next chapter, unfortunately, not probably going to be any Griff in it. That one's going to be more focused around Hazel and Russell, and giving some of Russell's background. Is there a Discord server? Yeah, we might make one later. That'll be a Martin job. That feels computery. And I am the worst person to invite to any kind of group chat. I definitely am not someone who should be moderating one. I don't care for this gear. It is too high and a little too big. That's better. Okay, so Griff stays alive until chapter 7. That's good too. Yeah, I can't kill a main character within the first 5 chapters. That feels like a bit much. After that, we'll see. This cloak doesn't come down far enough. Yeah, here-ish. And fix this up. Her cloak is a lot more difficult to draw than I anticipated when I designed it. Not like super difficult, more kind of vaguely annoying. Something still feels off about this one. her head is too small. I think that's what it is, actually. Let's make some adjustments, see if it'll fix it. Her jawline seems off to your eyes. Yeah, that's... I think it's like this area that's kind of throwing it off. Like there's supposed to be a line here. I'm still gonna size her up a little bit because her head still feels a little small to me. Usually I draw the heads too big. I don't know what's happening this time. Come on. Let's see. Yeah, that's good placement. Let's see what happens if I draw this line in here. That already feels a little better. She's got scar tissue on this side as well. Just be like this stuff here. What's my favorite drawing snack? Drawing snacks are a slippery slope for me because I'm not so good at just peacefully snacking on it once in a while. I end up just sitting and eating it till it's gone and then going back to drawing. I gotta do one or the other. I can't do both. Yeah, and then the teeth can be angled out a little, methinks. I don't know about out, but definitely beef them up a little bit. Gum would be here. Tongue. I think this would be more on along this edge. Unless you're talking about these ones, then yes, they need to be angled a little bit. It feels a little better already. Whatever they say to you is a lie, it's chips. Yeah, I can't be trusted with chips. Okay. Just here. Weirdly enough, I thought hiding part of them with a cloak would make them easier to draw since I'd be drawing less of them, but it has done the opposite. It'd almost be easier if I had to draw them all out every single time. Because I'd be getting the shape right. Okay, I don't eat the gross ones. Yeah, exactly. There are no gross chips. did I do the teeth earlier? Okay, let's go 1, 3, 2. 1, 3, 2. Yeah, I'm with you, Lindo. I like ketchup chips. I don't buy them on purpose, generally, but if they're, you know, at a party, I'll definitely eat a few. I don't like how these jaws look. I might just fix them later, though. I don't have a lion jaw in my house, obviously, but I have a bear skull kicking around I can use as reference. Ooh. How about all dressed? Yes, I also enjoy all dressed. Delicious. Unless you're asking Martin, then he's probably gonna be judgy about those too. Why do I own a bear skull? I'm a hunter. Just for food. And sometimes we like to keep the skulls. Thanks for joining us. That's Gib. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, yeah, our whole house is loaded with skulls. That is true. I just think they're neat. Question, is this inspired at all by Black Panther? No, not at all. I haven't watched Black Panther in quite a while. Is there a specific part that gives Black Panther vibes? Like, it's been a minute since I've watched that, so like maybe there's a correlation I'm not seeing. Oh no, the necklace. Oh, well, it's too late now. That was not on purpose, but Black Panther is a good film, so that's not like it's a, you know, bad comparison. I don't want it to look like I stole it from somewhere, but arms maybe a little bit bigger. I do this every time, but I always draw Hazel's head just a little too big. I do it with Griff as well, but mostly Hazel. Nope. That's not right. Let's try that again. A little better. I have a bad idea involves Hazel holding a salt like block on a stick like a popsicle. That's kind of fucking. That's hilarious, honestly. It's not a bad idea for just a goofy little thing. Yeah, Martin, stop spoiling stuff. Or potentially spoiling stuff. I don't know when exactly in the comic we're gonna get into the necklaces, but I'm sure it'll come up at some point. He looks like he farted leader guys have been, and he's just like, what, I have to go. Well, that's a lot funnier than what I have on this page, but it's also not supposed to be funny, so... This angle is kind of funky. I don't know how I feel about it. Not giving too much away, but do we learn? Yes. Eventually, yes. It will be quite a while. But yeah, we already have something in mind. You know what? It's this eye. That's what's messing up for me. Yeah. Wrong spot. So one thing about the dot eyes, I really like drawing them. I think they're super cute. But showing what direction they're looking in can sometimes be tricky. Or like a little awkward. Okay, let's come in a bit more too. I mean, I guess the bead number could be familial ties. Well, it looks like I'm finishing up on the rough sketches here. Oh, oops. So next is going to be the line art, but I'm going to take a quick break and I will be right back. Hello everybody, I'm back. And I saw a bunch of comments about the antlers on the wall. They are Herb's. They update the ones over the mantle every season when he sheds a new pair. So they put the old pair up on the wall. And probably keep the bunch in storage somewhere, I don't know. Okay. I'm still a little bothered by this one, but I think I'll fix that as I do the line art. So let's get started. Just title this real quick. I want a pet fox now. You reignite my want for an adorable little creature. I am right there with you. The place we live has very strict rules about pets, and I really want a dog. Also, dogs are very expensive, and I'm not in a good income bracket right now to support a dog if it has an unexpected, you know, large bill come up. So it wouldn't be the most responsible thing to do. I do have a pet snake, but they're not famously cuddly. Although I still obviously do love him very, very much. Yeah, pets are very expensive, and like, my parents have a big German Shepherd. She's lovely, but she has really bad allergies, and just the allergy pills and her special food alone costs like hundreds of dollars a month, on top of just regular pet care. I think line art might be my favorite stage. There's still a level of creativity to it, so it's not like coloring where, you know, it gets pretty boring after a while because you're just filling in flat colors that from a preset palette. But it's kind of relaxing.
Yeah.
I don't have to think too hard about shape and everything, but I still do make some changes. Like right here, I'm changing the angle of the piercings a little bit because I didn't really care for the other one. Are you Canadian? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have ketchup chips. Which kind of gives it away, but yeah. Yeah, the snake from Swing in My Pocket is in fact our pet snake. His name is Aster. He is the cutest snake in the world, and I'm not biased. Yeah, he's a little noodle. He actually bit me for the first time the other day, but barely. He like just clipped me and it was entirely my fault. Yeah, the price of living in Canada right now is not, like, obviously everywhere it's bad, but it's not great here either. I lived in a very expensive city at one point and had to pay rent, and the rent I was paying there in the expensive city was higher than I think we're paying rent now. And it was a significantly smaller place. It was like a studio apartment, no bedroom, bathroom, little kitchen. Okay, yeah, it's not quite rent. It's like mortgage and rent, but you get it. Either way. You live in my house, boy, and I pay all the bills. Not Vancouver. I lived in Kelowna for a few years? Yeah. While I was like going to school and stuff, and yeah, rent down there is ridiculous. I'm having some issues with this pen. Normally I can go a little bit skinnier on those lines. I think it's the pressure sensitivity got messed up when I was playing around with things, but yeah, obviously I'm not gonna say where we live now because privacy, but I no longer live in a big expensive city, so it doesn't matter, and I have no plans on going back. I'm using the same line thickness as always, but for some reason it looks a little too thick right now. You know, I think I'm just looking at it wrong. It's probably fine. It's the same setting I use for every other page, so I'm not gonna mess with it. I hadn't really considered it until right now, but this would be a very uncomfortable necklace to wear. Like, it's probably better with, you know, fur and stuff, but it's gotta pinch sometimes, right? Or just clack really loudly. Well, anyway, where is your favorite pumpkin spice beverage? Where is in place to get it? Because I don't go to that many cafes. I guess Starbucks or like a local one would be better. They get pretty pricey though, so I don't go very often. It's like a very special, once in a while kind of treat. Every single piece of the matriarch's costume makes me think, why did I choose to do this? I don't like drawing this object. Having to draw it 100 times is a little annoying. Especially like cars, and that's 90% of their camp. Not the best, not the worst. Looks okay. If I get too nitpicky now, I'll be here all night. A little bit rounder for these shapes. So what kind of stuff are you guys into? Well, drawing, obviously. I have a lot of hobbies that I don't give enough time to. Like, I play piano, violin, stuff like that. I occasionally attempt knitting for usually like a week-long period and then give up. Each article is a story. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Every single piece of her armor, outfit, whatever you want to call it, is important for one reason or another. Okay, what were the bumps on the teeth for this again? Right, 1, 3, 2. Okay. Gonna turn down the smoothing a little bit. It's a little too high. Yeah, not too shabby. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you, Lando. We'll have to go treat ourselves after this or tomorrow. Or I found it in a thrift shop and liked it. That is a funny analogy for her clothes. She keeps just finding stuff and she's like, that's neat, and then wears it. Human skull, gear. Probably her earrings too. And you know, like all the bullets and stuff. I don't know if she would have context for what they are. She's just like, that's kind of neat. Let's turn it into a necklace. As long as the texture is acceptable, you're correct. 90% of trying to look punk is sewing. That doesn't look great. Let's try this. It's an awkward angle to be drawing a nose ring, but I think that's okay. Oop, no. These things are alright when you throw them in a fire pit. You're right about that. That'd probably be the most fun party trick for someone who doesn't understand bullets. Are you using a Wacom tablet? No, it is a Huion tablet. Very similar. I've owned both, but I think I like Huion more, if I'm being honest. But I think ultimately the reason why I chose this one was because it was on sale at the time. And it was a good deal. But I'm really happy with it. It works very, very well. I use it literally every single day for work. Spicy sticks. Yeah. That's right. Man, just imagine if they found a grenade or something bigger than a bullet. Yeesh. Nice stream. Thank you very much. It was entirely because of Martin's efforts, and I just realized this box line is the wrong color. That's annoying. I'm gonna fix that really quick. Oh, these ones are too. Sometimes I press the wrong button and it'll force the color to be black or to like switch over in this setting, which is very annoying, and I do it a lot. So I should really fix that hotkey, but I'm probably not going to. Let's fix this real quick. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I've had good looks with Wacom tablets too. I haven't had any of the like fancier ones. I think I bought one. I saved up when I was like maybe 15 or something, and bought one of them for like 200 bucks, and I use it all the time. It worked very well for being at that age and just learning how to do digital art. It definitely wouldn't work for how much I work now, because it was one of the ones where it doesn't have the actual screen. It's just like a plastic pad that you draw on, and you have to watch your computer screen to, you know, line everything up. Which worked well at the time, but can get very annoying. Oh, there's another little itty bitty problem there. Fix that. There we go. Isn't it like Canvas Pro 19? I think it's something similar to that. I don't remember the exact one it is. What are your thoughts on the YouTube algorithm change that pretty much screwed over all small creators? Bad. I don't like it. If it continues the way it has, I might have to update my resume and not do Graycove as much as I have been, which would be, you know, a huge shame. Obviously, I'd keep working on it as much as I could, but if we're not making a living wage from it anymore, then gotta do what you gotta do. But obviously we're gonna try other revenues before we jump right into, you know, jump ship. So we might look at like extending the ads on Webtoon, which would kind of suck. It's nice that we only have them on for 3 days for the people who don't have the app or like to read it on their computers, because the ads make it so you can't do that, which is really annoying. But yeah, so we might look at extending the ads. We might look at starting to print things like stickers, or maybe just like little Graycove themed notebooks or something. I'm not really sure. We have to talk about it more before we, you know, settle on something. But yeah, not a huge fan of the algorithm changes. Apparently they're supposed to be doing something that should fix it, but who actually knows? Add a Patreon for like emojis. Yeah, we've been thinking about doing a Patreon because we could link it to Webtoon, and Coffee doesn't do that. We'd probably just offer the exact same thing that we offer on Coffee. It wouldn't really be any different. It would just be a little bit of extra work. So yeah, lots of things we could do before I have to dust off the old resume and... This is an artifact of the Asians, we believe. It is a representation of one of their deities, and it's just Tickle Me Elmo is honestly so funny. We do have some plans of like funny and weird interactions for when they do go into a human society and like things that they could explore and all the fun that comes out of it. And I'm very sad, but that won't be for a while in the story. Because right now they kind of gotta focus on home, you know? I am also looking forward to it. I've been messing around with the idea of doing another short film similar to the one I did in school, but because this one wouldn't have any actual deadlines, you know, I could fancy it up more than I did the last one. The last one got a little rushed, especially near the end, because, you know, I needed it to be finished in order to graduate. And yeah, if I did another short film, that one would probably be around them going into some kind of human ruins or something. How good is your coffee revenue? Is it bad? It's not bad. It's been solid. I can't... Based off of just like the monthly subscriptions, it covers like one lunch. But like every little bit helps, obviously, and I don't want to talk badly or anything. So it's been pretty good. But like we are, you know, we're just getting started. Everything takes time. Yeah, and like the coffee is brand new. We just started it. It hasn't been going for very long. And it's not like I'm offering any crazy stuff on it yet. I'm thinking of putting high-res downloads for like coloring pages. I don't know if anyone would be interested in that or not. I just thought that would be kind of a fun thing. Graycove art stream. Yeah, welcome. Yes, thank you, Lando. You bought us a lovely lunch. It is much appreciated. Your phone died, now you're watching the stream next to a computer by a super loud annoying 3D printer. That's unfortunate. Cool, you have a 3D printer though. That's handy. One of Martin's friends has a 3D printer, and he was kind enough to print me off a figurine of Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn that I painted part of and then gave up on because I got too stressed out about it. But sitting on my desk, and it's very cute. And a bunch of the like robot creatures and stuff. I love and cherish the series so much. Ah, thanks. I'm eating ramen, but how long does it take how long does it make you make a page of it? Of coffee or of Graycove? Because the Graycove pages each take multiple hours. I mean, we've been sitting here for 2 hours, and all I've done is done the cleanup sketch and some of the line art. So, you know, like, there's all the sketching time I did before the stream started, and there's all the stuff I'm gonna have to do once the stream ends, because I'm probably not gonna finish this tonight, especially the coloring. The coloring takes a really long time. I love the Horizon Zero Dawn aesthetic so much. Me too. It is definitely one of my favorite games. I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful. The storyline is wonderful. Aloy is such a cool character. Like, just all around, they did such a good job. +20 hours per page. I don't know about 20. That seems a little high, but like minimum 8, I want to say. Nah, better game is Silksong. Listen, I tried playing Hollow Knight and I'm still trying, and it's really hard, and I've heard Silksong is even harder, so I don't know. At least I can play Horizon. What do you like, traditional or digital better? They both have their pros and cons. I find I get more like gratification and pride from making something traditionally, like making a really nice painting. You know, it takes so much time and skill, and it's not like there's an undo button. You know, you can always cover stuff up with more paint, but there's more skill involved, I guess, where digital art is nice because you know, there's an undo button. You can go back and fix something. It's not set in stone. You can change the entire coloring palette in like 10 seconds depending on what you do, so you know, depends on the day, I guess. Silksong. Oh yeah, you're still talking about Silksong. Unless you're talking about Hollow Knight, I did not make it that far. I beat one boss. And I think it took me like 6 tries, or more than that. And assistance from Google. Yeah, I agree. I also like the strong, like, badass female character that Aloy is. I am gonna be so happy when I don't have to draw these ropes anymore. I went overboard. I mean, knowing how to assemble a carburetor is insane. That's super cool. I don't know how to do that. I tried playing Last of Us. I kept getting jump scared by the zombies, and I got so stressed out that I gave up. But I was playing a free PlayStation Pass version or something. If I had actually bought it, I probably would have tried to muscle through it. Silly question, have you played Night in the Woods? I have. I don't remember if I ever finished the game. I think it was one of those ones where I started it a couple of times. And I really enjoyed it while I was playing it. But I have a hard time keeping on track and keeping interest in just storyline driven games. I kind of like when they have a mix of like fighting and story. You do traditionally for art? Nice. What kind of inspirations did you have for Graycove? I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn was definitely a small part of it in that I really like how lush everything is in their like apocalyptic state, and like the human ruins are all like covered in plants and reclaimed by nature, and I absolutely love that aesthetic. It's one of my favorites. And like that's definitely gonna come in more. Oh shoot. I did all this line art on the box outline layer. I'm dumb. Okay, let me fix this real quick. It has a couple of different inspirations beyond that, but just for like, you know, the aesthetic of the human runes specifically, definitely Horizon Zero Dawn. Shoot, that didn't work. That did not work. Someone made Graycove into a TV show / movie. What style would you want it to be in? Honestly, the same as this, of like the kind of Adventure Time adjacent, I guess, style. I wouldn't want it to change very much, at the very least. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to fix this. Okay, there we go. A lot of inspiration is also just from personal life. In like I said earlier, I'm a hunter. I enjoy hunting, and I get to see a lot of nature because of it, and I just love it in general, you know? So for just the overall woodland setting is just, I guess, my own experiences with nature. No, you kill Hazel? Yeah, I've killed a Hazel or two, I'm sorry. Our hunting, it's specifically for food, though. We don't we don't do any trophy hunting, anything like that. I have no interest in it. I don't particularly like it. It's all just specifically for food. Venison is so good though. It's also just so much healthier, and it feels better to me than buying like factory farmed foods. I don't want to get into like the whole morals and ethics in, you know, hunting and buying meat and all that, but it's just generally healthier. And like, have you tried bear sausage? So good. And like pepperoni and stuff? Delicious. Like moose jerky, elk patties, all fantastic. You don't have the guts for hunting. Most people don't, in all fairness. I was raised with a lot of very prolific hunters, so I was numb to it from a very, very young age. So it doesn't really bother me very much. Had a horse steak when you visited Iceland. That's kind of cool, I guess. Never eaten a non-aquatic predator. There aren't very many of them I would want to eat. And even with black bears, you have to be really particular about where you're hunting, because you don't want one that's been getting into human garbage or anything like that. Buffalo burger. I don't think I've ever tried buffalo. We mostly go for like deer, elk, and moose, and then the occasional black bear. Which is how I got the black bear skull. My brother and I got that a couple springs ago. It made some Very, very delicious sausage that filled our freezers for a very long time, which is nice. Could I beat a deer in a fist fight? No, its fists are harder. It's probably bigger than me. Yeah, exactly. A deer would kill me. I'm no fool. I could be like a coyote. That's probably it. Would I beat a moose in a fist fight? Absolutely not. I would get demolished. Like 90% of wildlife, if it's bigger than a coyote, I'm done. I'm out. No weapons, I'm dead. Yeah, a moose is like a train. They're massive. They're bigger than a truck. If he wasn't fist fighting, use ingenuity. Yeah, for sure. Like plenty of animals can climb trees. I've scared a bear away before just by screaming at it. So like there are ways. If you take down a moose, you have food for a year? Absolutely. Moose are wonderful for that. You only need to take down one really if you're just feeding your own family. Generally, like if my dad goes hunting, he likes to feed as much family as he can, like grandparents, aunts, uncles, stuff like that. So he'll go out a couple times a year. But oh yeah, you gotta be really careful on the road. Even a deer going through your windshield, you know, it could just kick you to death. You gotta be really careful. Could you beat Hazel specifically? No. You saw what she did to those hyenas. I would die. I'm not a fighter. Yeah, Hazel fought off 4 group hunters. She didn't win, but I don't think it counts as a loss either. Like, not entirely. She took out a couple of them, you know? This will affect her ranking in the power scaling. That's fine. I don't want her to be too overpowered, you know? Hazel stronger than Goku. That's funny. I don't know enough about the character to agree or disagree with you, so I'm gonna take your word for it. Hazel meta too strong, please nerf. Yeah, she really came with some, you know, built-in boxing gloves. Or brass knuckles. How old in human years are Hazel, Griffin, Russell? I didn't really pick a specific number, and I don't think I want to, if I'm being honest. I picture them in their 20s, with Russell being closer to being in his 30s, but not quite. Long story short, Goku's approximate Superman level or higher. Okay, yeah, she's not gonna beat that. She's tough, but not like superpowers tough. I don't remember where I said that there were 11 and 13. I generally try to avoid numbers within the webcomic, just because my memory is bad and I don't want someone to do the math later and be like, well, that doesn't add up. You know? Saves me a little bit of stress. Why not create a wiki page about Tales from Graycove? I don't know how to do that, if I'm being honest, and I didn't think that was something anyone would be interested in. But it's something to consider. I might do that at some point. But yeah, I already have so many projects on my plate too. I started making an animation earlier because there was a trend on TikTok and YouTube of like characters just doing like a static walking pose or like a very simple walking cycle with different like cool rolling stuff in the background and like very hard to explain now that I'm trying to do it, but it looked cool, so I was trying to do walk cycles for Griff, Hazel, and Russell. And so far all I've done is the bare minimum of Griffs, and that's it. Wikis are fan-made usually. Excellent! That means I don't have to do anything. Yeah, he's a nervous little guy. I don't know who Zeno is, but sounds great. Did I correct lore by making male hyenas weak? Yes. This is a matriarchal society, hence the leader's name being the matriarch. And it's just like hyenas in real life, where even the lowest female on the totem pole is still higher than the highest male. not bad. Do hyenas also kidnap deer and wolves in real life? No, that part was a little off base for them. I think they generally just kill deer, and I don't know if they would see any wolves. Zeno, the ancient Greek philosopher. I mean, she probably could beat him up. I don't know if she would, if it's, you know, an old man. That seems a little messed up. Yeah, antelope are kind of deer. I feel like that counts. Barbary red deer. Never heard of that. That's cool. Painted dogs. I really like those. I don't think they count as wolves, but I don't know how closely they'd be related. Yeah, you're right about that. The bandages are not as annoying as the ropes, but still annoying. Imagine if Hazel found Human's old taxidermy deer head. Oh yeah, I have some ideas involving taxidermy that'll be a thing later on, but not quite yet. Is the Sisyphus comment just about me having to draw ropes over and over and over again? Because, yes. That is exactly how it feels. She'd probably think it has something to do with her prophecy. Not quite. But we'll get there when we get there. It won't be for quite a while. I would be like, I don't like this prophecy anymore. Yeah, no kidding. She deserves to be donated for coffee of this masterpiece to Banna. Aw, thanks. Much appreciated. Obviously, if you can't afford it, don't worry about it. But everything is always appreciated. I just want to be Patrick. That's funny. No. There we go. Ooh, nope. Yeah, exactly. You always have to try and have fun with drawing where you can, even when you're messing up. And you will. It's... everyone does. That's the point of it, you know? Oof, it is 9 p.m. already. We'll probably be wrapping this up around 9:30, so if you have any final thoughts, you got about 30 minutes to let them loose. But this was very fun, so I'll definitely be back next Thursday. You guys like Berserk? Yeah, I've seen... we watched some of it. It was pretty cool. Does Hazel have ADHD? I don't think she would. I do think Russell would have ADHD, though. Obviously, though, I am not a doctor, and she shows a lot of the major symptoms of ADHD. Maybe. Who's to say? You feel like Hazel's just quirky? Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of how I feel. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it by any means. So... if people think that they are, that's cool. That's sweet. Hi from the college you went to. I love your short film. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a really good point. I've got the touch of the tism, and Martin has ADHD, so it's really easy to write those two traits into characters, even when you don't mean to. So that's just how it be. How would Hazel solve the trolley problem? Oh god, that's a really good question. um, oh man. I have no idea, to be honest. She would probably try to do the thing that would save the most amount of people, which would involve killing one other person and then feel haunted by it for the rest of her life. That's all I got. I think she would flip the lever I think she can lock in. Yeah, see, I still feel like she would feel guilt over it, but I do think she'd be able to rationalize in the moment saving the majority over sacrificing one. Provided it's specifically the scenario where you don't know anyone on the track, of course. Yeah, that's completely fair. Not every weird character has to have a mental health condition. And they, in the society, wouldn't have the words for it, so they kind of just are how they are. You know? Yeah, exactly. It's just them being them. That's the best way to think of it. If you find comfort in seeing a character as autistic, then absolutely go for it. Take that comfort where you can. I do enjoy seeing autistic characters in media when they're portrayed correctly, because those are characters I can usually relate to. But not all of them are done well. And I might not do them justice, so it's hard to say. Is Russell 2 foot too tall? Yes. Yep, he is 2 feet tall. I have a height chart somewhere with their specific heights. Hazel's 6 foot something, I don't remember, and Griff is somewhere within the 5 something range, you know? Little gremlin. Russell's fun size, yeah. What are your thoughts on The Good Doctor? I haven't actually watched it, but from what I've heard, it's not good representation. Russell is danger sized. You got it. I did not do this skull well. Let me fix this real quick. This nose is way too low. For whatever reason, The Onion actually has some of the best representation. I will have to give it a watch. I don't think I've seen that one. Good night, Luke. Thank you for joining us. We will be back here doing this again next week. Hyenas are looking in Mad Max styles or just me? Yeah, they're looking a little Mad Maxy. I thought there was also a movie called The Onion that came out a little while ago. I could be wrong, or think of something else. You'll keep this #1 status if it kills you. Better come back next week, I guess. They did make a movie. That's what I thought. You watch movies when they come out, question mark? Only sometimes. Depends on the movie. Oh, I am thinking Glass Onion. Okay, yeah. Never mind. Think I could stuff Wrestle in your pocket? Probably not your pocket, but maybe like a backpack. What are your thoughts on K-pop Demon Hunters? I kind of had mixed feelings about it at the end. It had a lot of really good parts. It's not like my favorite movie ever. The story continues more than 1 year. Yep. And we had plans much further than that for future stories if we get there, but you know, that'll take a very long time and a lot of work. Like, look how long I've been working on this, and I'm only on chapter 5, so... Yeah, I'm gonna have to take all the time I need. I don't have any way to speed this up. If I got to a point where I was making enough money from it to hire on someone, I'd probably hire someone specifically to do the coloring. Just to speed it up a little bit, but that's all about I'd be willing to do. Forgot to say your art is really good. Thank you. What are the spikes of claws on her lower leg? Yeah, they're just kind of like metal spikes meant for shredding if you need your feet in a fight. I think they're more for appearance and intimidation than actual function. I've heard the Blue Eye Samurai is really good. That's been on my watch list for quite a while. Yeah, the palettes on the side. That's completely fair. She uses others' bones in her costume as a trophy of her defeated enemies? Yes! Do you consider yourself a furry? No! I started drawing these because it was part of my class film. And then I started drawing the shorts because I was bored and looking for work. And then they took off in a way I was absolutely not expecting. And people really like them, so I keep making them. And it's very fun for me. It's cool that I can just make whatever I want as part of my job. Like, I'm my own boss. That part is really nice. But no, I am not a furry. Yeah, exactly. Animals are just fun to draw. most of my traditional art also revolves around drawing animals. I did a wood burning series a while ago. That were all like animal and nature themed, and that's just my preference for drawing. The one nice thing about drawing these guys, especially Hazel and Griff, where I'm drawing them over and over and over and over again, is that they don't have outfits, and that takes a lot of drawing out of it. I just like cute things and stories. Yeah, me too. They're just cute. They're fun to draw. And like, I like animals. I like being able to show their individual behaviors and stuff through the story, like having the hyenas be matriarchal and stuff like that. It just makes it more fun for me, you know? Gasp, it's the cute wolf and deer animation shorts person. Yeah, that's me. The thing with anthros is that they're way easier to express with at times. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, having the like ears and tail to give additional body language is nice. As long as it's enjoyable should be what matters most. Exactly. And like I said, getting to do this just as my job every day is pretty cool. I am a very lucky person in that respect. Kind of makes you want to go to art school yourself. Art school can be very, very fun. Yeah. I really enjoyed my time at art school. I took a couple of different programs before I settled on art. Criminology was an interesting one. That one was very fun. I only did it for like 1 year though. Art school or teach yourself? Honestly, you can get, like, art school can be great, and it's a really good way to push yourself because of the amount of work that you have to do and, like, homework and everything, keeping up with it. Can be really good in teaching you how to do art quickly. But, like, it's also one of those things where you can just teach yourself. Like, even my animation professors at school said it, if you have a solid demo reel and you put the work into it and you have the skills, that means way more to any studio that you go to than the school you went to. Like, no matter what, your demo reel is the most important thing in any interview, resume, whatever. So that's really the important thing. Yeah, when I got into the school, you know, Netflix especially was like promising all these jobs and like looking for animators, and it seemed like everyone was hiring. And then by the time I graduated, there were 0 jobs. No one was getting hired, especially if you're fresh out of college and you didn't have any studio experience. You weren't gonna get hired, which is really a huge shame. But yeah, the effort and dedication and skill shown in a demo reel will show you off better than any college diploma or certificate or what have you. Good stream, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up in about 10 minutes. I can feel myself getting tired, and that's usually a sign to stop. Dark side of animation. Yeah, I mean, if things get bad enough, it might have to be an option. We'll see. Hopefully not. Thank you for joining us, Norse Farce. Have a lovely evening. Oops. Go. Well, thank you. It's nice to hear when like Graycove is appreciated. It's been crazy the amount of success I guess I've had with Graycove. The amount of attention it's gotten is still insane to me. The fact that I'm streaming right now is crazy to me. I did not expect that to be the result when I posted those first couple of shorts just for the fun of it. Good night to you as well. For now, at least. Never used to read comics before, but this one's an exception. Thanks. Yeah, the shorts have been very good advertising for the comic. Can't see yourself going to college because you got burnt out. I feel that. I did a couple of different programs. I did criminology and I did psychology for a little while, fresh out of high school. And those ones were pretty good, and then I went on to do art, and it's not, like, obviously there's not as much reading and stuff that goes into it and, like, physical tests that you have to do, but the amount of, like, just work that you have to do and the amount of art pieces that you had to be, you know, spitting out every single day absolutely burned me out. Appreciate you doing the shorts. Wouldn't have found the comic without it. I think that's how most people have found it, to be honest. There are loads of comments on it saying, like, I found this from YouTube. So if I ever do continue the misadventures of Fia, I might have to make that a YouTube account too or something. Who knows? Criminal justice and forensic science. That sounds fun. I wanted to get into more of the forensic side of things, but I only did the first year of criminology, and that was mostly looking at like the justice system and stuff, which was still really fun. And like the professor was this really cool retired homicide detective that had the most interesting stories, and was even in a documentary, which we watched in class. Biomedical engineering. That sounds very cool, to be honest. Heavy into Silverwing. I don't think I got into any of the like Warriors or Silverwing or anything like that when I was a kid. Warriors just had too many like characters all at once kind of thrown in. I never got past the first few chapters. I was a big Harry Potter kid. A minimalistic exosuit. What is that? That sounds interesting. Graycove is very appreciated. Honestly, got me into part of the art community I don't know existed. It's no inspiration to see. Thank you. Game of Thrones with cats. That sounds pretty interesting. Just a powered sword or armor to increase strength without making it bulky. That's pretty fun. Hyena face, yeah. That's gonna be most of the pages for the next while. Well guys, I think we're about ready to start winding down. And by that I mean I'm getting very eepy. Just put this here in real quick. She looks like if Scar from The Lion King was a hyena. Yeah, I can see it. The coloring's not quite there, but for vibes, yeah. This whole story arc feels like Anki Hyena Face. Yeah, pretty much. That's the whole chapter. Summed up. Everyone's mad. Good night, sleep well, don't let the matriarch bite. I'll do my best, she seems like a biter. Amazing evening. Excellent, I hope to see you next week. Hopefully we'll be up and running at the same time, but I will make a post about it either way. I hope you all have a very lovely night. This was an excellent first attempt at streaming. Cool. Well, that's that. Bye.